that he has not had a shot at the top pound-for-pound fighters in a fair fight. Not where he's giving away a ton of weight like he did to Canelo. And he has, in his own words, like his whole legacy riding on this fight. Have you considered that ever? Does that mean anything to you?
Listen, he gonna have to get another legacy fight, because this one ain't gonna be the one.
Damn.
Terence has mentioned, Amir.
You see that swallow right there?
Everyone seems to be saying the same thing about this fight, and that somehow it will diminish his accomplishment, according to him, when he beats you. Which is, everyone knows Amir's going to look good early because he never hasn't. But over the second half of the fight, the cream will rise to the top, and Terence will dominate. And he's almost irritated by that because he feels like, in his words, when he beats you, he won't get full credit. But how do you feel about that? Silver medalist, international star. Have you found the coverage of this fight disrespectful to you?
I have, I have found it disrespectful at times. I mean, I walked out my skin. I mean, I think people are taking this fight from the last performance I've had. I mean, and maybe it's one of the reasons that got me the fight. If I look spectacular, I don't think I would have got the fight. Now, I know I've still got that spectacular style still in me. I've still got the energy, the speed.
So, we're going to watch this. Man. Has the fight not grown on you yet? 12 hours, 50 minutes away from the until the card starts, 9 p.m. Eastern. It's going to open up on pay-per-view. The pay-per-view card is going to open up with Felix Verdejo versus Brian Vasquez. Then it's going to be Shakur Stevenson versus Christopher Diaz, a fight I'm highly looking forward to. And then you're going to have Teofimo Lopez versus Edis Tatley. And then this fight right here, Crawford versus Khan. Now, what I've been saying in the whole buildup of this fight is no trolling. What if Khan doesn't get KO'd? That's been the question, and the fact that if Khan doesn't get KO'd, Khan can have the best performance of his career, especially at 147, and Bud still beat him and he won't get any credit because public opinion says he's supposed to knock Khan out. There are some credible people and there are some level-headed people that are like, all right, Khan is good. Khan is good. Never lost a fight. He was never losing a fight on the cards up until he got knocked out. The Canelo fight did some damage to him. Note that this is his first title shot at 147 pounds. He's been at 147 for a while now. And I understand his logic in taking this fight over the Kell Brook fight. That doesn't mean that he still can't get the Kell Brook fight. It's just not going to be as big. But this fight right here is definitely raising his profile, fighting on ESPN pay-per-view. I'm interested to see what the pay-per-view buys are going to be. Terence Crawford has to put on a show, and Terence Crawford has to be more vocal if he wants to get those PBC fighters to at least acknowledge him, at least get PBC to acknowledge him on Inside PBC Boxing, their show, or any of their shows. They act like he doesn't exist. The keys are in Bud's hands. He's got to talk. He's got to say, look, Errol Spence, I want to fucking fight you. Tell your team we got to make it happen. And I'm not saying his team is not with no fault. That's the fallacy of these narratives that's going around, is that you got to pick a side. You got to either be Team PBC or you got to either be Team Top Rank. It doesn't have to be like that. And it's a shame that YouTube media is very powerful, that a lot of them don't understand that they're the reason why a lot of these fights aren't happening, because they enable this behavior from these fighters, from this not afraid to lose the or when they have a whole bunch of cheerleaders saying, yeah, don't go over there to Bob Bam side. Oh, yeah, well, you got the cheerleaders over on the Top Rank side. They have them. Oh, yeah, well, the PBC fighter, listen. Now, understand that I have a sound reputation of my job here on this channel is to cover boxing. I try my best to stay away from all that shit when it comes to all that LDBC and all that racial, all that shit. Yes, we all want our fighters, all want our own to win. It's called tribalism. But a lot of times it goes too far. It's a shame, for example, when people say, I was just talking to ESPN and Steve Kim about this. Like when people say that they won't buy the zone, because it's Eddie Hearn's slave driving platform, not understanding how they're hurting other fighters, other black fighters that are on that platform. But whatever. let's move on. We're gonna take a little break. I'm gonna watch some more of this. And yeah, this is Max on Boxing. I've caught a few episodes. I always DVR them. It comes on ESPN2 on Fridays at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. So in this case, he had a live Max on Boxing right after the Crawford-Khan weigh-in, which was, a damn good idea. We'll be right back.
The power, everything it takes. I just needed a better dancing partner. And this is the one. Fighting one of the best perfect pound fighters in the world. And I really believe that I will be the best. And you will see the best Amir Khan come Saturday.
Goes unpunished.
Look at the death stare from Crawford.
Fighters. You've always taken on the biggest challenges, and you come into this fight a big underdog partly as a result. Had you been handled very carefully, you wouldn't be such a big underdog right now. You wouldn't be coming off a knockout loss to Canelo. If you could do it again, would you do it any differently?
No, I'd do it the same way I did it. Look, I got balls. I don't give a damn who I fight, who I'm in the ring with. That's the type of guy I am. I train very hard for every fight. Once I have to step into that ring,
you got balls.
I step in. That's why I've achieved a lot of things early in my career, and people forget that sometimes. Maybe that's why they've got me
not bigger balls
such
than
low
Mikey,
numbers
though.
on the odds. But you know what? This is my time to prove it now, and I'm going to prove it with my style, my speed, and everything I have.
Terence, the people are picking.
Of course, I want to punish anybody that step in the ring with me.
In other words, not just beat him, but beat him up.
Listen, we in the hurt business. We're not friends, I wish him well after the fight, but during the fight.
Quickly, Amir, how do you beat him?
Damn.
You'll see on Saturday, man. And I know what to do. And I've been here. I've been in this position before. People can say all sorts and all they want. I'm coming to win. Mark my words.
ESPN pay-per-view tomorrow night.
Not gonna happen.
Maybe Bud's just hungry. Fighters are very irritable after the weigh-in. But yeah, he's got to lighten up a little bit. As I was saying earlier in the week, he don't have to be like acting like a clown and all these jewelry and all this old shit and saying a whole bunch of dumb shit. But be more, of a showman on this platform of ESPN. You're on ESPN, Bud. It's just like a life dream of many athletes. But I'm hyped. I'm going to be here tonight covering all of these fights. So my day is going to start in about 6 hours or so with the card on the Zone, headlined by Dave Allen versus Lucas. What's wrong with my camera? Hold on. There we go. Dave Allen versus Lucas Brown. Derek Chisora versus some guy named Gashi. You got Conor Ben on there, Josh Kelly. Then later on tonight, on PBC on Fox, you're going to have fights that I'm going to be covering. Andy Ruiz Jr. versus Alexander Dimitrienko, Danny Garcia versus Adrian Granados, and then this card once again starting at 9 p.m. on ESPN pay-per-view. The prelims are going to be on ESPN2. This pay-per-view is going to be starting with Felix Verdejo versus Brian Vasquez, Shakur Stevenson versus Christopher Diaz, Teofimo Lopez versus Edis Tatley, and then Crawford versus Khan. So if everything goes well for me or for the channel flickers that are going to be watching both of these cards, then you want to basically, I'm guessing that Danny Garcia versus Adrian Granados will likely be over, even if it runs late by the time Teofimo Edis Tatley gets into the ring. But we don't know how long that's going to last. Teofimo Lopez versus Edis Tatley. And if Danny Garcia Granados goes the distance, which I expect it to, I'd be highly shocked if Danny Garcia knocks out Adrian Granados. And that would be a really significant knockout, in my opinion. So we're going to see, man. Kell Brook is going to be ringside for the winner and the loser. If he wins, if Terence Crawford wins, then he's going to definitely should be interested in fighting Kell Brook, because the PBC guys like Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, Errol Spence, Keith Thurman, Manny Pacquiao, they all got their own plans. Unless he wants to fight to Luis Collazo. So I say they should explore that Kell Brook fight. But, remember, matchroom fighters are not solely contracted to the Zone. They're fighting on there, but they're not solely contracted. So Kell Brook can go over to ESPN, and fight Terence Crawford possibly on pay-per-view again. But would fans buy that on pay-per-view, though? I think they should try to squeeze that in on ESPN Plus or something. But, you know, if Khan is making Khan is supposed to be making $5 million and Terence Crawford $5.5 million. And then, of course, they get a percentage of pay-per-view buys. So I always rely on pay-per-view buy info from either Lance Pugmire or usually always from Kevin Aioli. Unless he releases them, I don't usually, care about any other people numbers. So my predictions for pay-per-view buys is probably going to be around 200K. If it does 250, I'm going to be like, oh, shit. One of the issues I have, and I hope that ESPN gets better with it going forward, they need to roll out all this new content that they have. They need to roll it out not a week, not 10 days before the fight. Roll that shit out like a month, 2 months before the fight, like Spence Garcia was doing. They had a whole, ESPN got some top quality content. They had the Countdown show. Terence Crawford and Bomac have a show on ESPN Plus where they're reviewing the Gamboa fight. I'm going to be watching the Andre Ward show, which I forgot what it's called, right after this. Is the next video following this. They got good content, but they rolled it out too late, in my opinion. BT Sport has been killing it. Go check out the BT Sport boxing page. BT Sport is broadcasting the fight on pay-per-view over in the UK. But they've been, killing it. Even though Bud ain't really been doing his part, has he been having issues making weight? He's been seemingly more irritable with this fight, a pay-per-view fight. But whatever. It's TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. Please subscribe. See you guys later on tonight.
You'll see.
Not gonna happen.
I love being the underdog, I love being the underdog. I've never been the underdog. Whenever I have been the underdog, I've always proved my point.
That's cool.
I'm going to prove my point again.
We shall see.
I got respect, and I respect what you've done in the game.
We
You know
shall
what?
see.
It's my time.
Not gonna happen.
Anything else you want to say to each other?
I already told him what I need to tell him.
Yeah.
Guys, thanks for coming on. Max on Boxing. Much more to come.